Car coming in. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. I got him out of the car on the run. Battle Royales have, without a doubt, impacted a generation of gamers so heavily that it's basically reshaped the world's economy in its own right. I remember drooling over the game PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds when I was an Xbox pleb with absolutely no PC in sight. And like so many others, it is the game that got me to actually buy a PC instead of waiting for a half-baked attempt on console, which obviously ended up happening, and that was a rough cut that should have been left in the garbage at 30 FPS, but I digress. Ultimately, the game had a massive impact on my gamer brain and drove me to play a ton of awesome titles that most of you probably don't even realize ever existed. Things like Last Tide, which was a battle royale that was set in the ocean, and not on top of it either. Literally underwater battle royale madness, where you could shoot chum grenades at each other and attract sharks. And the zone itself was made of freaking sharks. It was nutty, but not as jank as something like Cuisine Royale, which was again a battle royale, but in this case was a very special type of stupid. And so stupid that you couldn't help but love it, like that one family member we all have.
What about mine?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What about mine?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What about mine?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What about mine?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet.
Cuisine Royale utilizes culinary items like pots and pans to wear for armor, and it's accompanied by like the worst walking mechanics ever in the history of gaming. Now, of course, there are probably thousands of other games that have branched out on this entire Last Team or Last Man Alive theme, but from the time of PUBG, nothing, and I mean nothing, grabbed my attention until I found virtual reality.
Grenade!
我操！别让这么些烟，
Escalator.
别让这么些烟，我操！根本看不见人了。
That was sick.
If you're a subscriber already, you'll know this, but in the small chance that YouTube actually pushes this video out for everyone else, this channel basically started on the first major and still the only serious battle royale within VR, named Population 1, and even during my honeymoon phase on there, I couldn't help but think to myself, man, I really wish there's more of a PUBG or Call of Duty style battle royale someday, knowing well enough that if there was going to be one, it'd probably be years until that would happen. We'd already seen the solid attempt and how hard it was to do with games like Virtual Battlegrounds. Then one day, just like many VR titles and projects that I'm late to learning about, I find that the team from Caveman Studios, the creators of one of the most popular games in VR, Contractors, are making literally just that. A battle royale that will be a little less on the arcade side than what we've had in this space so far, and that's not to take away from the flying and building mania that we get to enjoy right now, but just something more grounded that brings me a feeling of where I started out years ago in the VR scene. Sounds pretty exciting. And for those who don't know much about Contractors, which is in the same universe as the upcoming battle royale they're making, the game is just easier to compare to a very, very well-polished FPS that gives you every single feeling of Call of Duty. Just straight up, that's exactly what you feel like when you're playing the game if it were just in 3 dimensions instead of 2. In my view, this is what we call better. Now, we know Contractors is birthing its own battle royale, but what else do we know? Well, so far not much actually, and that's not even the general public, trust me. I've done a little bit of work behind the scenes with these guys before and maintained great relations with them, and I haven't even gotten a peep. And of course I've tried. You know I've tried. Because there are a few out there that are as hyped as I am on the inside, trying to keep it all together like a school kid seeing his crush at the grocery store. What do we know though? Well, there are a few things. Firstly, the name Showdown, and I'm not sure whether that's added to the universal tag or not, but I can easily see that happening. So it would actually be something like Contractors Showdown. Sort of like Call of Duty has Call of Duty Warzone and their whole universal situation, and to me, this is probably the way to go if I were in those shoes. How much easier is it to build upon something you already have, especially when they already have weapons, mechanics, and insane amount of assets and things that they already own and can implement? Why spend the next 4 years building something all the way from scratch? This is going to give a huge feel and consistency in my opinion, or at least I hope so, because I'd like to be able to go warm up a little bit on some team deathmatch or something like that and casually hop over to some Battle Royale. Something that I'll do in almost any Battle Royale game that has that option. Secondly, we know just by judging from the teaser trailer that the map is, my best guess, at least 1 square kilometer, but maybe even 2. And this can give us some idea on how many players at least might be involved in one round. Of course, the map size estimate isn't something that can be gauged just from a little photo shot within a trailer, but if we have an idea based on other Battle Royales, it's pretty safe to say that it wouldn't be any smaller than 1 kilometer, but with the Quest 2 becoming the newest, weakest link or headset that sets the bar, with the Quest 1 being unsupported mostly going forward in almost all games, we can hope that they take advantage of everything that they have, which leads me to guess that hopefully, and I mean really hopeful here, they can fit like maybe 30, maybe 40 in a match, but that is really stretching it far since we are talking about standalone here, and I'm sure they won't be doing anything like Spatial OS with how much headache that is. I personally don't see it going above 30, but I'm also just a basic nerd, not a developer. Lastly, they have something on the website that I'll leave linked below that quickly describes a tactical terminal, a place where you can go get tac gear, I'm presuming. This tells me that there's probably going to be some sort of advanced tech involved on this island that they're building, which on that same website says vacant island. I don't know if they literally mean it's vacant or if that's the name, but I'm voting that it just stays vacant isle if it's not named that. Either way, I've played a ton of Contractors in general. It is absolutely one of my favorite games, and since this announcement, I've been playing quite a bit more and trying to hone in on my skills in a more serious way than I've ever approached the title before too. Even switching up my gun stock, which I used to never use in the first place. Check back on the channel later to see how well that goes. Anyways, what do you think about this? Is it something you're even looking forward to, or are you pretty skeptical? Let me know down below, and yada 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 yada. Subscribe, God bless, bye.